Welcome back, everyone. I have recently been playing Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. While I still consider myself a somewhat newer player, I wanted to make a video talking about a few tips that I wish I knew when I was first started. So, let's dive in. Number one, get familiarized with your starting area and don't be scared to die. While there is a death penalty, it does not come into play until level 5 or higher. So from levels 1 through 4, take your time, get familiar with wherever you started at, learn your surroundings. Since there's no map, this is vital and crucial to navigating the world. While I specify your starting area in particular, it namely because you're going to spend your first 1 through 5 levels there, give or take. Typically, you want to start partying around level 5. So, it helps if you know the area pretty well when you're grinding those first few levels before venturing out to the world. Plus, it's an area you already know and you're familiar with. So when you do die and you have to retrieve your corpse and you didn't bind point anywhere else, then you kind of know how to get back and you already have a leg up on everything. Number two, slash con or slash C will allow you to check or consider the monster's difficulty. Alternatively, you can press C on your keyboard and it will also check or consider the monster's difficulty as the default hotkey. While you might be thinking, oh yeah, I saw a tutorial for that. I don't know if my tutorials were bugged or not, but I did not see a tutorial for this. And then when I finally figured it out while getting more familiar with like the slash help and seeing what slash commands there were, I stumbled across slash con slash C, and it really changed the way I played the game. Number three, the chevrons on monster's nameplate is a quick indicator on if a group is required or not. If no chevron is present, it can still kill you, and you definitely want to consider it before attacking. I wanted to call this out as I had to learn the hard way. I was just attacking monsters when we were waiting for a group to form. I did not understand the chevron thing, as other games like Embers Adrift uses chevrons to indicate if you can take it on solo, duo, or party. Like, for example, in Embers Adrift, one chevron you can fight on your own. Sometimes you can take on two. Two you can do as a duo. Three or higher needs to be group. So I didn't see that. I considered the monster. It actually told me I could probably take it on. It's an evenly matched fight. I had a partner there who was forming the party, so I went and attacked it. Needless to say, I died. Luckily, my bind point was right next to the camp, so no harm, no foul. Grabbed my body, moved back on. Number four. This one might be a niche tip. However, I felt this was very helpful to me, and I felt like I made the right decision with doing this one. You can only have two professions in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen and all the gathering professions. So, my recommendation and tip is to take up a profession to make your main weapon of choice and your armor. For myself, as a monk, I have weaponsmithing for my knuckles, as I am a hand to hand monk, and tailoring, which also gives me outfitting and allows me to make my monk specific armor. I'm not sure the benefits of this at end game at 40, but early game, getting out of your starter gear and getting better starting weapons was crucial for me to feel a little bit more powerful while grinding those early levels. Also, tailoring gave me a way to make bags, and having bags early on is extremely important as well. As a side note, I do want to point out that I have a Dire Lord that I took up weaponsmithing and armor smithing on. However, with armor smithing and particularly Dire Lord, with it not being able to use plate armor and you can't really make chain until later levels, making the leather armor requires you to be able to make leather. You do not get the tanning skill unless you take up tailoring or leather working. Luckily, there are a lot of people looking to help new players out or even sell these items fairly cheaply, so you're not really stuck, but it is nice to be able to kind of make your own things as you're going along in the game. Number five, Even though there isn't a map, you can still pinpoint your location by typing /LOC or /POS and get your coordinates. However, if you're in a party or get separated from your party, you can pinpoint their location using the party compass, which is around their class icon on their nameplate. Some people party before level 5, which is perfectly acceptable to do, but from my experience, people don't necessarily party until level 5 or higher. And a bonus tip I have for everybody is when in a party, there are abilities that can be linked together. If you're a Final Fantasy XI player like myself, you'll think, oh, this must be like skill chains or magic bursts. And you'd be right for the most part. If we look at my monk's ability, Spear Hand Strike, it interacts with the opening gap mechanic. And if I have my hand-to-hand weapon equipped, I can use Spear Hand Strike when opening gap is applied to the creature, and in turn apply Restraint, which reduces action speed by 25%. Or if I'm using a bow staff or blunt weapon, I can apply Overwhelming Mind, which is resistance down by 20%. If we move to the ability Exposure, we can see it applies Exposed, so anyone who interacts with the Exposed status will benefit from me applying Exposed to that creature. Those are my tips for all the new players just starting Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. If anyone else is playing, please feel free to drop any helpful tips that I may have missed or just didn't cover here for the new players in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as it really helps the channel grow, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more MMO or gaming content. And don't forget, we go live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on YouTube and on Twitch at twitch.tv/0hunter123. Come hang out sometime. Hope to see you again soon.